Y'all probably wondering why I'm crying. I've been watching Speed streams, and I'm seeing all the love that he's getting in Angola. He's in South Africa, and he's getting massive amount of love, and the way that he was treated in Europe was disgusting.
Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm your host Wamara. Today I'll be addressing a very interesting discussion that is currently ongoing within the internet, one that touches on Ishowspeed'S tour in Africa that began from late last year until now, early this year, and is still continuing. This is a very interesting and important tour for the Black American community as well as the African Americans, because with this tour a lot has been exposed. Things that were indoctrinated within Black folks for centuries are now proven to be wrong by the Ishowspeed'S IRL streaming that is currently ongoing in Africa. Many Americans and Black Americans were taught to believe that Africa was nothing but a hellhole where nothing good would come from, and they were taught that Africa was poor. People in Africa, Africans, were very primitive and wayward. However, Ishowspeed has proved this to be very wrong and has shown the world that the opposite is true. So kindly sit back, relax, grab your cup of coffee, and enjoy as we go through various clips that show how African Americans and Black folks have reacted to Ishowspeed'S tour in Africa.
Y'all probably wondering why I'm crying. I've been watching Speed streams, and I'm seeing all the love that he's getting in Angola. He's in South Africa, and he's getting massive amount of love, and the way that he was treated in Europe was disgusting. But to see him be a black man from the United States of African descent and be able to go back to the continent and be treated like a human by civilized African people, when we've been taught that Africa is primitive, that it's dangerous, don't go back, they have this, they have that, they don't want you, they don't like you. And to see an African American man with his stature go back to the motherland and be treated with so much respect. This is what our people fought for. This is what they fought for when they fought against Jim Crow and segregation. This is what the slave revolts were about. This is what it's always been about. Is to be able to go back home to a home that you've never been and be unapologetically black and not have to think about being black. Just being able to have your natural hair and your brown skin and not be judged and not be racially profiled and not be killed. I love the love that he is getting, and I love the love that all of my African American people are getting in the continent. And I know there's a lot of issues. I know there's a lot of things that need to be worked out, but I'm so proud. I'm so proud. And I love that for him, and I love that for all of my people that are over there. And I can't wait to hit the soil and experience it myself.
Listen, I'm very happy that the streamer Speed, has went to Africa and done his IRL stream there. I'm very happy that there are a lot of people that are having realizations and changed minds about Africa and how beautiful it is, and the fact that Africans do not hate us, the fact that we need to build a bridge and unite the nations, African Americans in Africa. We've been needing to fix that relationship. We've been needing to mend that wound. But y'all have to also understand, and this is part of the problem, that We only pay attention when a celebrity does something. There have been plenty and countless content creators that have gotten on this camera and said how beautiful Africa is, that have gotten on this camera and said how much the Africans love us and they don't hate us. And it ain't nothing like that European reject is teaching you. It ain't nothing like the pretendian is teaching you. It ain't nothing like none of them self-hatred warriors, identity crisis warriors are teaching you. We have to stop contributing to the problem. Just because a celebrity says something, now all of a sudden it's law. We have to stop doing that. There have been plenty of people out here telling y'all about Africa. And now all of a sudden I'm seeing people crying on camera and telling me, oh my God, I didn't know. I thought it was just all lions, mud and huts. How did you think that? Why did you think that? So you ain't finna get off that easy with me. I'm happy you having the realization moment. But see, it's a lot of self-hatred in a lot of you. It's a lot of anti-blackness in a lot of you. Your ideology is very clan memberish. But you get a streamer that goes to Africa and now all of a sudden you want to unite Africans and African Americans. It's great that y'all are having this realization, but maybe do your homework. But maybe you should have done your research before assuming what you was taught is law. Maybe you shouldn't have just assumed that Africa ain't nothing but lions, mud, and huts. Maybe you shouldn't have assumed that the Africans hate you all because some self-hatred warrior told you so. All because some identity crisis warrior told you so. Speed's own father is an identity crisis warrior. Go look up when Speed was trying to tell him about Africa and how that man started fidgeting and couldn't stop moving and sitting up there going through all the little demonic little possessions trying to avoid him being African. Imagine a black person trying to avoid being African. It's like a damn penguin trying to avoid snow. It's like water trying to avoid H2O. You think just because I live in America, my grandmother's from America, my great-grandmother's from America, that don't mean nothing. We was the first to migrate. We are the original people. We did everything before everybody. Tell me, what's the upside to distancing ourselves from Africa? What, you want to get closer to a European reject? What, you think the European reject finna save you because you done distanced yourself from your ancestry? What's the upside? It's so much dumb shit being said. Motherfucker gonna tell me that we should stop identifying as being black. Do you know why black and white exists? Black and white, we call ourselves black because white folks made whiteness the top of the food chain. White supremacy, everything white is right. Everything was about being white. So we are black as black power, black unity, black excellence, black love. We understand we not actually black, stupid. Nobody's saying we actually a fucking crayon color. But what it is a status symbol. If we allow it to be, it's a title of pride and courage. We don't need to stop identifying as black. You need to stop identifying as black because you act more like a clan member anyway. Hey, we black, we African American, we American African, we Africans. We are everything wrapped into one. That's how beautiful this community is. That's how beautiful we are. That is our potential. That is the uniqueness of us.
I don't know if it's bots, but I'm watching the Ishowspeed thing and I'm seeing a lot of like bots or regular people saying, I thought Africa was all huts. What? The place that all the Europeans steal from, you thought it was all huts? The Europeans stole so much from Africa, they even took the people. That's where you get a person like me, a black American. So what are you talking about? Africa's rich on its own. It's just, there's like, what's stopping it from being rich is Europeans stealing and causing confusion. That's what's stopping it. Like, black Americans, we can see our oppressor. They can't. It's like another black person doing it over there. But they don't know it's a white person pulling all the strings.
Bro, that whole Ishowspeed, like, live stream in Africa damn near made me want to fucking cry. You're so fucking cool, man. I see why you took our ass damn near. Like, we are so fucking cool. That shit is like, this is what y'all took from us. I'm so mad. So many people that look like me. I'm so mad. I can't go back. Oh, but we are so fucking cool. I'm jealous.
Ishowspeed made it to Eswatini. It's Eswatini. It's not Eswatini. It's Eswatini. And this time he went to an African village. I'm not talking about regular village. I'm talking about African village. No electricity, no Wi-Fi, no technology, nothing. And the people in the village are happy. True happiness. Ishowspeed was talking to this man who was married to multiple wives, and he was amazed on how he was able to manage all his wives. And he had a daughter, and the daughter came out, and Ishowspeed was like, your daughter is very beautiful. So if I want to marry your daughter, how do I proceed? And the man was teaching him how to proceed in the village when it comes to proposing to a girl. And he was literally explaining step by step by step. And I was like, this is really good. It's not oppressive to the women. The girl needs to choose. The girl needs to choose first, and then the parents and the man are going to talk about how and what he's going to offer to marry her.
How many cows do I have to give you so I can marry her?
17.
17 cows?
Yes. Because a cow can cost 5,000, 7,000, $250 a cow.
Wait, 20 cows, 4 grand.
5 grand.
4,000.
Yeah.
So far, I think this is my favorite moment of Ishowspeed Africa Tour, because we are looking into a real African village. And on top of that, Ishowspeed literally met the royal family.
We have a king and he has children. This is Prince Sazi.
Prince Sazi?
Very nice to meet you.
What's good, Prince Sazi?
He's with his sister, Princess Lomabega.
Thank you, Prince. Oh, what's good, Prince Molega?
Lomabega.
I did not even know that Eswatini had a monarchy. To watch an African nation that still has a king and a prince and princess, and people actually respect those titles. We hear about we used to be kings and queens, but to see actual kings and queens, princes and princesses, it makes you think like, maybe that's how we're supposed to live. These people look royalty. They look royalty. They're like dressed in their traditional attire. I'm like, yeah, this is royalty. I'm not gonna lie, I think this is my favorite moment so far in this Ishowspeed Africa Tour. I love everything African, but this is the root. I don't know how these other African countries are going to top this, because this is another level. This is like, y'all thought we were gonna show some cities and some lights. No, we're gonna show y'all the real Africa, because this is big. To all the people in Eswatini who made this possible, from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
And I personally believe that what Speed is doing right now, without even realizing it, is he's literally waking up the masses. He's waking up the masses from all the propaganda and the lies that the media has fed America, Black Americans, about Africans and Africa. You know, he might not even know it or be aware of it, but he is literally healing generations right now. And trust and hear what I'm saying. Speed was divinely chosen for a time such as this. It might be an innocent thing and look like it's streaming, but a lot of Americans are waking up and realizing they were fed lies. And everything that they learned and were taught about Africa were lies. I have so much more respect for Speed after watching just a couple of days of his tour. Yeah, I'm definitely subscribing.
I've never seen an African celebrity treated that way by Black Americans here in America. That's how we treat people in Africa. Ishowspeed is getting nothing but love. Nobody's calling him any name. Nobody's saying anything about him. He's just having a good time. He's enjoying himself because he's home. Ishowspeed is single-handedly destroying centuries of negative propaganda done on Africa.
Many people are shocked at Americans reacting to the I Am Speed stream and being like, I didn't know Africa was like this. I didn't know Africa was like this. And as an English teacher currently residing in Asia and teaching in Asia, who has access to some of the textbooks and the information that they teach about Africa, I am not shocked at Americans not being aware, because it's the same situation here in Asia. Like, Africa is taught to the kids and to the people here as being like a poor place. The pictures that you see in the textbooks are of like the typical hungry child with a fly and the mother begging for food. And when a city is shown, it's like a city that's close to the bush, you know, like when Africa was still developing. So they're not, the information about Africa is not updated. Like it's still the old pictures. And also, another thing is because they consider Africa as a whole and they don't separate our problems, they see our problems as one, you know, like for example, maybe Uganda could struggle with water, but other places there's water, but they're not portrayed as like the whole of Africa is dry, you know, because they can't separate between all the different countries. So hence it's like when they see one picture of like a dry place, then it's like, oh no, the whole of Africa is dry, you know? So that's just how Africa is being taught to the people here in Asia. And some of the questions that they ask, sometimes I'm just like, wow. I remember this one time, the question was, the topic in class was, what would you do if there was no school? Like there was no such a thing as school. Like what would you use your day to do? And I remember one of the things that the teacher asked me is like, so if there was no school, what would you do? Would you play with elephants and ride them the whole day? And I'm like, you know, things like that. And to show that the information is not updated, someone asked me about, because I'm from South Africa, so they asked me about apartheid. They're like, oh, how's apartheid going? Like, are they still killing black people? Like, yo, that was 30 years ago, like more than 30 years ago, you know? So the information is not up to date. They have old information about Africa. And because Africa is portrayed as this place where it's like poor and we're begging for food and we're always asking for help, people are not interested to even go and research more about it. Because to be honest, if there's that person that's always begging and no one will be interested to know in them. You know, everyone wants to know the glitz and the glam that's portrayed as like America, that's portrayed as like Europe, Australia. That's where the glitz and the glam is. And that's why a lot of the culture, even here in Japan, like black culture, it's like the black American is the influence, because that is what's portrayed as like cool, and Africa's portrayed as like beggars. So they don't even go that extra mile to say, oh, let me find out about this place. It's just like, yo, these people always begging for money and assistance and aid and donations and stuff like that. So there's no interest to really go and look. So I kind of don't blame them, because that's just what they're taught, you know, and which is now the opposite of us in Africa, where we are taught a lot about other countries. Like in South Africa, our history, we did like Martin Luther King, we learned about Germany, the war, World War I, World War II. We know a lot of things about other countries outside of Africa, even more than we know about Africa. You know, in fact, this past Thursday, it's only then that I learned that Nigeria and Ghana are not next door neighbors. There's a country named Togo in between them. I was 2 years old. Like, I did not know. I didn't, honestly, because why? We are taught in Africa more about Europe than we are even taught about Africa. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know much about Kenya. I don't know much about Ghana. I don't know much about Nigeria. I don't know much about a lot of African countries. But I know much about European countries. So it's a lot. You know, it's a lot. In as much as we might cry and say, oh, they don't know about Africa, they know about Africa. We also don't know about Africa. We know about America and Europe too. Think about that.
So from the videos we watched, it's quite evident that Ishowspeed is having a time of his life in Africa. One that is never experienced in any other country that he's traveled, or any other continent. I remember the last time he was in Europe, he was treated like nothing. He was treated without any kind of dignity at all. He was treated like an animal. There were a lot of racial slurs that were termed and said against Ishowspeed. People behaved around him like he was a baboon or so. People looked down upon Ishowspeed as if he was nothing, that. Yet in Africa, he's been welcomed with warm hands. For all the countries he's traveled, we've seen people come out in large crowds welcoming Ishowspeed as one of them, as a human being, as an individual. Exactly how any human being, however the color, race, religion, however, whatever anyone believes should be welcomed. This shows a lot about the African community at large. It also exposes the lies that the systemic Western propaganda has always propagated and pushed to ensure that Africans are seen as nothing but primitive creatures without any invention, without any development, and without any acumen whatsoever. Ishowspeed is doing a great job with these live streams that he's been conducting all over the world. The other time he went to China and the same happened. The world got to see that China is a very good country with some of the most amazing forms of and kinds of technology. Something that is completely the opposite of what the Western propaganda has always pushed. While Ishowspeed has been in Africa, he's experienced the best life, he's had the best experience of his life. He even said himself that this is the best tour he's ever had. We've seen how people have welcomed Ishowspeed, and we've seen that Africa in itself is very talented. We've seen artists, we've seen dancers, we've seen all types of talented people interact with Ishowspeed. Additionally, we've seen Ishowspeed experienced the city life in Africa as well as the traditional African lifestyle and beliefs. He's gone to traditional healers. He's experienced traditional cultures in which he's in the Eswatini community in the South Africa. He's experienced it all. He even had a conversation with a father about how to get a wife in Africa. And it's against all the various propaganda that has always been spread that in Africa, people are very primitive. You know, this is the best time to live as an African, and most of all, as a Black American. Black Americans have always been taught that Africa is primitive and they shouldn't come back to the continent. The most interesting thing is now, with this expose, we realize that Africa is the home to be. They say, East, West, home is always best. And I urge all my brothers in the United States to come and visit Africa. From experience, other content creators, especially vloggers and travel content creators, have always shown this to the world. But people have always been ignoring this, or rather, Ishowspeed has had a wide audience that has really exposed the rot within systemic Western propaganda. Interestingly, Ishowspeed in Africa has had no issues with insecurity. In all these other countries, he's always been guarded extremely. He's always been pushed and shoved into the vehicle so as not to be either robbed or hurt. But in Africa, Ishowspeed has been experiencing everything firsthand. He's had the time to do whatever he wants to do with the crowd without the fear of harm. What else could he ask for? He's gotten it all in Africa. You know, it's very interesting that it has taken many years after the Pan-Africanists like Malcolm X. It's taken so very many years for this to be exposed, and by nobody who is an activist, but just an IRL streamer. The God of the Africans and black people work in very mysterious ways, one that the white man's God will never understand. One that the white man's God can never fathom. Just an IRL streamer. Just a kid. And through this kid, a lot is being exposed. Family, tell me in the comment sections. What are your thoughts? I believe Ishowspeed is God's chosen person that he uses to expose American propaganda. Most of all, through this, we've seen how black Americans are reacting. They are very emotional. And why wouldn't they be? They've been lied to for so many years. They've been lied to. They've been told Africa is all that. Africans are very primitive. Africa lacks resources. I couldn't believe that in the 21st century, people still expected that there was no Wi-Fi in Africa. People still expected there were no good roads in Africa. People still expected that people slept under trees. Of course, it's true that in other communities that are not exposed, people still live primitive lives. But then, it's their way of life. Others have been exposed, like the Maasai of the Kenyan community, yet they prefer to uphold their culture. I'm not saying that they're living a primitive life. I respect whatever culture they have. But also, they've been adamant to adapt to new technology. And they still take care of their cattle and they love them as they should culturally. Just as in any other country, even in the Western countries, even in the America, every country has issues. It's only the other time that we saw the Epstein files opened, and it exposed a lot within the American government. Africa is no exception. We've had our issues in Africa, but that does not take from all the good things that we share as Africans. Our welcoming and communal nature. Africans are very welcoming, and I am very happy that the tour that Ishowspeed has had in Africa has exposed how welcoming, compassionate, and friendly Africans are. I urge all my brothers and sisters in the United States and world over to visit the motherland and experience this for yourself. It's only when you experience it for yourself that you'll really know how welcoming Africans are. One bad experience shouldn't taint the image of this lovely and rich motherland. They've always said Africa is very poor, and it's not true. From which country that is poor that you steal resources and even its population? Africans were stolen and taken to the United States as slaves through the transatlantic trade. They stole the resources from gold to diamonds, to jewelry, to oils. And then, as if that were not enough, they even stole human beings. Where was the dignity of African people? I'm a very happy man today, knowing that all the bad things that have been said about Africa are now being exposed. And family, I ask, kindly comment respond in the comment section. What are your thoughts with regard to Africa from what you've seen in these videos that we've played, as well as the tour itself? Otherwise, that's it for today. Have a lovely day, and kindly share, like, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please Don't hesitate to share your thoughts on the comment section. Till next time, thank you.